Bitte einsteigen. Yes, you're thinking about a trip. Maybe first of many. Maybe you need a reminder. But wouldn't it be nice to have a list of tips so you can kind of think about stuff in an orderly fashion as you get ready to meet your next ex, visit with the relatives, see the sights, take in the nightlife? I think so. So I thought I'd get around to finally making a list of all that stuff I keep in my mind as I am getting ready to travel. And I thought I'd put it in some kind of organized fashion. Don't want to freak out about stuff you can do later and vice versa that you forgot. And, you probably think about making those reservations usually about 45 days out. That's a general rule. Usually gives you a better fare. And you don't usually nowadays have to worry about those frequent flyer points as much as you used to. Yes, still collect them, but don't get those cards that cost extra. As a rule of thumb, I take the cash. Those never expire. And the cost of a frequent flyer mile now is worth about only a penny and a half. And you want to make the airline reservations, and once those are assured, you might do the hotel reservations. And those are easily done on Google now. Just go to the Google Maps. Don't go through the booking services. Go directly to the particular hotel site associated directly. And you might think about start making those train reservations if that's appropriate. Then you're going to have to maybe get those tickets delivered, in the case at least for reservations for trains overseas, and you start thinking about getting that passport. And if you haven't renewed it, do so. You may need to have entrance visas. That's permissions to enter a country. Brazil comes to mind. And of course, if relevant, get your inoculations. And when you start thinking about your trip, do note, of course, you can leave from multiple cities if it's maybe more convenient. Likewise, upon arrival, you can, many times, have a better airport connection, subway, train, wherever you're heading, and sometimes cheaper. And if you use multiple cities arriving and leaving, that's called open jaws or multiple cities. Airfare.com comes to mind. Kayak comes to mind. No liability on my part. They don't charge extra fees. And sometimes you can just use that as a guide and then go to the airline itself and sometimes often get a better fare. And using those airport codes, which are 3 letters for us commoners, 4 letters for the industry, some of them have a common code for a city: LON London, PAR Paris, ROM Rome, BER Berlin come to mind, but they'll have actually, of course, different codes for the specific airports. And while the industry internally uses 4-letter codes for cities and 3-letter codes for airlines, for the public they use 3-letter airport codes and 2-letter codes for the airlines. Here's a list with both the ticket number code, which is 3 digits, and the 2-letter abbreviation for common airlines around the world. And as you get more into it and the details of specific travel on certain days, certain airlines don't fly daily. Likewise, for certain trains being direct or not on certain days of the week, holidays. And indeed, the reservations in Southern Europe for major trains are mandatory. Better to do those in advance, especially in France. Some of them can be done online at the URail site or Rail Europe. You know what? Some of them can be, especially Italy, can be done on their own site with no extra fee. Now we're going from getting ready to getting ready to getting ready. So we've got our plan laid out. And, if you're arriving late at some cities, especially after, say, 6 o'clock, that's 1,800 hours, you might want to confirm back with them to let them know, especially if you have not a prepaid reservation, which might give you a discount. About 10 days, a week or two in advance, you might update your address book if you haven't done so. If the trash hasn't been picked up, pick that up so you don't have to worry about that rotting while you're away. Update, renew your drug prescriptions and so on. About a week out, you might start thinking about getting all your clothes washed to get ready to pack. And things you might forget early are a converter for those foreign plugs. Get your kit and that baggie for all those liquids. It's a rule, see-through baggie. Let's see, you're going to pack the socks, pack your undies, pack the shirts, the pants. You might think about a lighter and the cigarettes or something like that. By the way, that is okay. And, don't pack too many clothes. You might buy some. And then think about paying bills. Worry about that. Clip your nails. That's always nice. Don't forget gloves, hat, visiting cards, swimwear, your glasses. Now you got a couple of days before you take off. File that mail hold with your postman. Get the pet food ready for kitty or doggy for your neighbor, your friend. Pack in now that updated address list. Oh, make copies of your ID, your passport. Put those somewhere else. You start using up the food that you know is going to go bad. That's, duh. Get your keys ready. Your travel keys should be different than your emergency normal keys. Now, a day before, you might start loading in the charger for your phone, your camera, as opposed to the converter. Get all those tickets in order. Get ready to check in 24 hours before. Sometimes that's very easily done online. And if you've loaded in your information about the passport some 2-3 weeks earlier, that makes sure that you're more likely to get that express check-in with the TSA. Put out the trash. I don't mean put out the trash for collection. Just get the trash out of the house. You don't want it rotting inside. You might turn down the hot water heater. And then comes the day. Make sure you have enough change for the bus, the taxi, going and coming back. You don't want that as a hold-up. Get ready to check the weather. When you get there, first thing you're going to do, go to the ATM. The best way to get cash. And as always, a debit card and a credit card. Debit card only for cash, infinite liability. Credit card for the purchases. Hopefully you've got one of those credit cards that doesn't have an international transaction fee. Capital One comes to mind. Be ready to maybe make arrangements for the subway and the bus because you've done your homework online. And just about the time you're about to go out the door, close the windows. Might be a storm. Now you're probably on the plane or on the train, whatever. Nowadays, almost nobody takes cash. So bring that credit card. And when you arrive, you picked up your ATM cash money. And then you also probably need to pick up the reservations, especially in the case of the trains. Usually there's a handy kiosk. Same thing for the check-in at the airport. Usually they're still going to force you to go through a manual check-in on international flights. You have to validate, big time, validate your rail pass if you're using that. Then you're about to relax, but wait a minute. Don't forget to get those free postcards. They're almost around everywhere. And start looking for stamps, the collectible ones. One ordinary stamp, or how about a whole postcard full of a whole bunch of different cheaper ones? Prettier and collectible. So I'll say, bon voyage, goeie reis, bem-vindo, gute Reise, bon voyage, até logo. Have a good trip.